Yo, what's up, guys? The Insane Game Freak here to bring you a Pokemon Sun and Moon discussion. And today I have a very special guest with me, Tyronethegod3. How you doing, sir?
Hello, everybody. Tyronethegod3 here, and yes, I'm doing great. It's actually good to do a crossover with you again. I don't think we've done one since what, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire?
Well, if technically, I think, yeah, actually, yeah,
Yeah,
it's been,
Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So yeah, we're on to the next game.
yeah, man. This is Gen 7. Are you excited?
Yeah, Gen 6 didn't get a Z.
Well, Gen 6 didn't get a game to make it worth it. But yeah, we're here to talk about Sun and Moon and kind of just we got some new trailers. I was gonna make the discussion earlier, but they were like, "Oh, there's a new trailer coming out on June 2nd." So I was like, "Well, let's wait until after that comes out." And after
Right.
it's been out for a few days and kind of settled in our minds to kind of get our overall thoughts. So now we got a full look at the legendaries. We know their names. We know their typings and abilities. We got our starters. We got a full look at both of our trainer characters. We got some possible new rivals. We know we have at least one. The other one is in the air because we don't know if she's technically a rival or not.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
we have our official professor, and we have a general look at the region. So I guess we'll start off with the starters, since that was the first trailer that was really shown off. Was our three starters:
Mhm.
Layton, our fire type; Rowlet, our flying grass type; and Poplio are water type. So, what are your thoughts on? I guess we'll start with Layton.
Um, Lytton is definitely the one I'm most neutral about. On one hand, I don't mind. I think it's a pretty good move for cats because cats always played a generic role in Pokemon. I don't think we've ever had like a really important cat Pokemon at all. Pyroar was a disappointment to me because you have a whole lion. What is he, a special attacker? So I was like, oh, kill me. Kill me. I get the idea. The idea was that his roar was supposed to be so powerful. It's like a special attack because he doesn't physically hurt you with the roar. It's the sound effect. But come on, you have a lion. Let me maim some stuff. Let me destroy. Let me whatever. So cats have come a long way. We finally have another fire cat that'll hopefully do it right. So I'm not mad at Litten. Litten's cool. Litten is I can deal with Litten.
Well, okay. Well, here's my question: since we have a lion and we also have a lion-ish legendary, do you
Yeah.
really want it to take the same kind of lion look or tiger look? Like, isn't there another cat variation we can do that doesn't make it? Because to me, Pokemon's only really done two types of cats. It's either been
Yeah.
the cute as hell or the kind of cool looking ones. And I'm
Or
like,
purr ugly.
well, I was not. Listen, I thought the name speaks for itself, so we don't talk about.
Right.
He talks for himself,
Right.
and no one likes his name. But it is an accurate description. Uh, but no, like I kind of I'm like happy and kind of bothered by it because I like. Let's be honest, and I guess I don't know. Just speaking for myself here, when I first looked at all the starters, my initial reaction was like, "What in the fuck is this?" These to me, and
I thought they were fake.
yeah, oh my god, to me, and you can tell me if you agree or not. These are the weirdest looking starters we've ever had.
I
Like
can agree with that. I can agree with that.
it was to the point where they just look really off. And it's not like they're bad, and they've kind of grown on me. But like I just remember looking at I didn't even click the trailer. I literally had just clicked the I looked at the thumbnail on the
Hmm.
Pokemon site, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I thought Rowlet was a chicken. I didn't even realize it was like I thought it was like a baby chick. I'm like, are we just doing a fat poor chick now? Is that what we're doing here? But it's it's such a they're just weird looking in comparison to everything. And Linton seems probably the most normalized of the three,
That's
just
true.
being just a cat. But I'm like, I don't really want to go down the same road as like Pyroar and making or even Solgaleo, our new legendary, where it just looks like a fucking variation on a lion. Like I kind of want something.
I think they're gonna rock a saber tooth.
Yeah, but are we gonna do like? Is it gonna be like one of those? I guess. Is it gonna be one of those kind of fire types where it's gender neutral looking, or is it gonna be kind of like how Braxton was, where You get a
It's
you
yeah.
get a distinct gender vibe from it. Because honestly, I wouldn't mind it going the Braxton route, and that's only because if it goes a normal route, I feel like it's just gonna look samey as hell. Like that's my biggest fear with Layton. I feel like it's gonna look samey as fuck.
Yeah, when you're coming out from a Gen 6 lion and then going into a Gen 7 lion, which is a legendary, in which both lions, Gen 6 and your starter, are fire type, it does seem sort of reused.
Yeah, and I don't want it. And I guess that kind of brings into the question: what typing do you think it'll have by the end of its evolutionary line?
Um, a lot of signs are pointing towards grass. I mean, grass. Sorry, fire and dark because of
It's
what
dark.
was that?
Look,
Because of Houndour.
yeah, but
It looks like the fire response to Houndour, and I honestly think this thing looks like the fire. Also looks like the response to. It's kind of like they were kind of upset with Pyroar and what's the thing that turns into Pyroar?
Litleo.
Yeah, I'm gonna get their names confused.
Well, no. Well,
I'm gonna
Litleo.
get Lilio and Litten confused at some point.
Well, yeah, but to me, lately, I think everyone kind of geeked out when they saw Litleo because they're like, "Oh my God, it's a little lion cub!" And we're like, and then we got the evolutions. And the evolutions don't look bad; they just
Yeah, it's just
stats.
you put Pyroar and Solgaleo up against each other, and then you put this thing. It's like, oh god, here we go again.
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, I don't want to fucking do it. That's my innate response. And like, I don't mind the dark typing, but I kind of wish we got something different. Like the one thing about Finnegan that was cool to me, and eventually Delphox.
It wasn't firefighting.
Yeah, like we got a fire psychic type, and I was like, wow, that's a variation on fire types that we don't usually get. And when I'm thinking about it, what typing could they really do for in terms of combination with fire that we don't normally get? Because fire dark, technically, Houndour is fire dark.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't really want to go down that road again if we can avoid it. The problem is I can't think of any other typing.
Some people have been speculating fire poison, which is interesting, but I think it kind of I don't I think it might mess with the no, it wouldn't mess with the scale actually. Yeah, fire poison. Although it would be purple if that were the case.
Well, poison does kind of need some more representation, but I don't know if I would want that in my starter.
That's true.
I don't. The only other one I can think of off the top of my head, typing wise, that would work towards its color. Like if I'm basing it on the way it looks, it's got to be something between dark, ghost, and psychic. And I know it's not going to be psychic.
Yeah, and fire ghost has been done thanks to Litwick through Chandelure.
Yeah, and it to me that's also implying that we have a dead cat
Right.
as a starter, so I don't really want to
Well,
do
it's
that.
got 9 lives.
The only other thing I could make a reference to is maybe it's going to be fire ground.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I don't think we've had a fire ground before, but it'd be interesting.
It's not a well used type.
Yeah, camera up and yeah.
But I mean, as I said, the type kind of goes into its design, and if it's a saber tooth, dark doesn't really make sense.
Sense, yeah.
So like,
The
and that's
thing
not,
about a cat as a Pokemon, it's kind of ambiguous what its type could be. I mean, most of our cats have been normal, but cats can, yeah.
well, yeah, because like, and then obviously since we're based in Hawaii, there isn't really any Hawaiian felines I can think of that's really well known. That could be as serve as a reference. I mean, this is obviously overanalyzing a damn cat that eventually in a few months will know the start of evolutionary line. Anyway, but
Yeah.
it's fun to speculate. Um, but I guess for now we're pretty neutral on Litton overall.
We just don't want it to be a firefighting. That's it.
Well, it better fucking not.
Yeah.
I can't take that. I can't take the strain of that.
Right.
So let's go to the next one. That is, it seems to be the fan favorite.
Team Rowlet.
My God, I was surprised. I was surprised how well this thing caught on.
When you give your opinion, I'll give a story. So go ahead.
Okay, well, and this kind of goes into the whole thing with actually Litten too. They picked another Pokemon style that's like of an animal that they don't normally do Pokemon designs around. Because the only owl that comes to mind,
Noctowl.
yeah, that's it. Like, is there any other owl that I'm
No.
missing? That's it.
No, it's not. I made a whole joke about it.
So literally, it's another one of those. You don't really actually. And the same goes for Poplio when we get to him, because
We'll get to him.
yeah. Oh God. But Rowlet in terms of design, for some reason this thing is spread like wildfire on the internet. I don't understand.
Yes.
And I guess it's because of its cuteness quality, which is funny because people think it's going to be another Chespin situation where the thing looks badass as hell in its final evolution. A lot of people.
It's crap. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And but for me personally, I'm probably Team Litten just because Rowlet's probably a second choice, but and it kind of goes into my whole: do I want to wait and play the game to see the evolutions, or if I look it up early? Because if I look it up early and Rowlet looks cool enough, I'll probably fuck with it. It's also our first flying grass starter,
Yeah.
which is which means it automatically has an advantage, has a secondary advantage over certain types out the get go.
Yeah.
Now, whether it also that means that, and actually brings up a question. And I know this is getting way too far into the future, but I'm curious. If when we get to Alola, and let's just say we have Ash, does that mean Ash doesn't have to get a flying type?
I actually hope so, because one thing that's bothered me in X and Y is that Ash doesn't have a damn grass type. So what would make up for it is him getting a grass and flying. So if he does get Rowlet, I won't be as upset.
And that also makes an extra slot for an original Pokemon also, because let's face it, every time we go to a new region, the one thing we already know is that he's going to get at least one starter, he's going to get at least one flying type, and then he's going to get that one Pokemon that's like OG as fuck.
Yeah.
And so, it'd be nice to kind of take out that stupid slot of that mandatory flying type that he has to catch and just give me Rowlet and just let Rowlet do all the work. But just to finish up my thoughts real quick on it. Rowlet's fine. I don't love him as much as everybody else does, but I'm just pretty indifferent to him. So
Team Rowlet.
Go ahead and tell your story.
Okay, so for the longest time in Pokemon, even in the first generation, I always got mad because I was like, wait a minute, Pokemon are based off animals. Where the hell is my owl Pokemon? Owls are animals, and there is none. Then Gen 2 came around and blessed me with Noctowl. I mean, it blessed me with Hoodoo too, but Noctowl. So I actually really like Noctowl. Noctowl had a special place in my heart. The only problem I have with Noctowl is that out of all the psychic moves, why is he normal flying? So then, like, obviously we fast forward when we get Rowlet. And at first I was skeptical. I was like, this thing looks like a coconut. And I get it because it's Hawaii. But then the more I look at it, the more I look at the fact that it's got a bow tie, and the more I look at the fact that its shape, I guess you could say it's the epitome of being simple, but awesome.
It's also more of a traditional owl, considering
yeah,
like in its animations in the trailers, it actually turns his head around and stuff.
And yeah, that's what got me too. I was debating which one of these starters is going to be the one I like the most. And none of them were really getting to me really hard. I like Litten and everything, but yeah, the thing with me and cats. But then what did it for me was the internet. There's a GIF file of Rowlet turning his head, blowing up his trainer, then turning his head using leafage on the opponent and blowing him up too. And then there's one where he's looking back and he's like, you talking shit back there? And then he turns his head back. And I was like, right. And then after that, a day has only passed since Rowlet's debut, and Twitter is just full of Rowlet memes. Like, full of them. And at that point, I was like, yeah, I will join the Rowlet bandwagon. He has earned my respect, and he's not Poplio. So, yeah, that's what got me. That is the story of how I fell in love with Rowlet. Because, one, he's an owl, and we need more owl Pokemon. Two, this thing's popular. And I'm happy he's popular. So, and if Ash gets it, I will be happy, because there's nothing wrong with him per se. Like, the only way they can mess him up now is if they make his final evolution bad, which, to be honest, if he belongs to Ash, then I think they will try their best to make him look suitable. Because everybody laughed at Greninja during his debut, and he turned into, he's Greninja.
Oh, no, people laughed at
Like, the
Froakie.
Froakie, my bad. And then he turns into Greninja, which Greninja's the most badass of the three.
The only problem I see with Rowlet is that he's kind of locked into his typing now. Like, I can't see any changes in his typing from
Yeah.
his evolutions.
Yeah, because his typing was decided from the get-go.
And it's kind of like, well, I mean, grass Pokemon have never been known to be the greatest in the world. And considering that ice 4 times weakness is going to be kind of a bitch,
Yep.
he doesn't really gain any advantages. That's like the biggest problem with flying grass.
Yeah, grass types have a lot of weaknesses, and flying types weaknesses, while they're not a lot, they still share some with grass, which is a problem.
Yeah, and they also lose, and Rowlet's going to lose in a lot of situations that probably would have been fine in, like against electric types. Now it has neutral damage instead of super effective or not very effective. And I'm like,
Rock types, yeah.
yeah, he's going to, and that's an extra weakness he didn't fucking need. And I'm kind of like, I don't care for that typing too much. But the problem is you can't get rid of either. He's a bird, so you can't get rid of his flying, and he's a grass type, and you can't really get rid of that because he's the grass starter.
Well, after using Jumpluff for a while, I stopped and thought about it. If they can do his typing correctly, then maybe there's an advantage there. Because a long time ago, I remember we had Paris and Parasect, which was awful.
Well,
Like god awful. Like it had 4 times weaknesses to 2 things. But then Leavanny came around. And Leavanny actually saved the grass bug from being a pathetic type.
yeah, but it also depends on what kind of grass type he is. If he's a bulky one, or if he's a physical attacker or a special attacker.
That's true too.
Because I can see him being a physical attacker. The problem is that that's a lot of grass moves are special.
Plus,
So,
plus, if we're basing him off Noctowl, owl Pokemon are generally known to be wise, which deems for special attacks.
which kind of fucked me up because I kind of wish he'd be more of a heavy hitter so he could take advantage of all of his flying techniques.
Yeah.
Because, like, or either that or make him a tank. Make him a tank or have him hit hard with physical attacks. Because since he's weak to everything, I feel like he should at least have high defense.
To make up for it, yeah.
Yeah, because he'll get wrecked by everything. Like grass types don't have a good reputation of being like tanks because they're grass types.
And flying types don't have a representation of being tanks either. They're usually fast hitters.
So I feel like that'd be a nice variation on grass types in general. Give me a bulky. I guess Torterra was like one of the only differences, and the only reason why Torterra was like that because it had a ground typing. Because Torterra was kind of a tank. But my whole thing is that which is the more variation in grass types. Because there are still types in Pokemon that are underutilized. Mm-hmm. Specifically, Poison kind of needs more love. And Gen 5 kind of gave it more love. It actually gave that and Bug types a lot of love. It was ridiculous.
I think because of Berg and Roxy.
Yeah. But as far as Rowlet overall, and ironically enough, I have a similar issue with another animal type that isn't represented enough in Pokemon. I have a huge thing for rabbits, and Gen 5 was literally like the best and worst moment for me for that because I'm like, ooh, Buttlebee, and I was like, I don't mind this design. I'm like, okay, but can we get something kind of cool? Like, give me.
Oh yeah, let's get something that's not fucking Diggersby.
Yeah, and all that, and the memes that came afterwards. Diggersby though.
Well, that's just Shofu being able to use him competitively. That doesn't change the fact that it's still ugly as fuck.
Oh yeah, it's still ugly as fuck, but people were still happy as fuck. People were running around screaming Diggersby though, and I'm just like, bruh, stop. I was so mad because right now my rabbit representation is limited to a Azumarill.
Oh yeah, and a Azumarill. Yeah.
Azumarill. Lopunny's okay. I can kind of deal, but I kind of just want that cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when people in Gen 6 are like, oh my god, it's a panda. And people felt like they had made it. I'm sitting there in the back going, where's my rabbit representation, man? That's all I want. I want a good rabbit, normal type, or just a good shit. It could be a ground type. Just give me a good looking rabbit. That's all I want at this point. Because Diggersby was not it at all.
Yeah.
Buttlebee was tolerable, but Diggersby was just like, bruh, don't ever do that again. But moving on to our final one, and the one that's
God.
The one, you know what? You can go first.
It belongs in the trash.
Jesus, man.
No, there's a meme where people keep putting it in the trash.
Man. Yeah, we're talking about Poplio.
Poplio.
Our sea lion, I think.
Just in my defense, you know how when you pick your Pokemon in the Sun and Moon game, it shows the trainer picking up the Pokemon?
Yeah.
Well, they did that, and then there's another picture of the trainer putting the Pokemon in the trash.
Oh God.
And okay, I guess I will go on Poplio's case. Poplio has sort of, I'm not going to say grown on me, but I've gotten used to him now. When I first saw him, it took some getting used to. I was like, it's gonna take me a minute to get used to this ridiculous ass thing. And I think if what does it is the little ruffle he has on his neck, plus the fact that he's trying to look like a circus clown. And I guess in an era where we're looking for either cute or cool Pokemon, circus clown seal over here doesn't really appeal to me as a person. And I think the water starter bar has been raised, unfortunately, thanks to fucking Ninja Frog.
Yeah, you're not gonna beat that.
Yeah, Ninja Frog took the cake. So who's coming off Ninja Frog? Clown Seal.
Yeah. Well,
It's a hard transition.
and I'll be honest with you, my opinion's kind of different. To me, I think that this is going to be the Oshawott for this generation, and here's the reason why. People don't act like it now because it's been a while. We've seen all the evolutions, but Oshawott's initial design is not what people consider great. I remember when we first saw it, it was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Because it literally looks like a baby otter that has its hair that got shaved halfway. That's what Oshawott looks like. Oshawott looks like you were in the middle of shaving an otter, and you were just like, oh, I'm done, and we just didn't address it anymore. And I was like,
And it also didn't help that its scout chop was like the way Oshawott was holding its scout chop. It almost looked like it was a part of his body, like that was his stomach. But then later in the anime, we know he can take the thing off and use it as a blade. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
yeah, like the anime kind of saved Oshawott, but the anime also does what Poplio kind of does in its own trailer, which is show off a good amount of personality. The thing is confident as fuck. He's just like, I mean, hell, even in the promotional art on the Pokemon website, he put Rowlet in a bubble. This thing doesn't give two fucks at this point. It's like I said for Rowlet and Litten, they used another animal type that isn't really represented much, seals, because the only thing we got is really Seal and Dugong.
Literally, you have to say literally a Pokemon named Seal and Dugong.
And
the
basics. And if you wanted to give maybe a little bit of bonus, I guess you could technically count the Spheal to Walrein evolutionary line, even though that's more walrus.
There were more walrus. And what was I gonna say? People always say, "Oh, Pokemon's running out of ideas." Guys, the first Seal Pokemon was called Seal.
Well, yeah. That's Gen 1. Just Gen 1 is being stupid again.
Right. It was like the first Seal Pokemon was called Seal, guys. Shut up. So it's just like, yeah, and I think the issue is when we see the Pokemon in their basic forms, we already kind of like putting our minds together what their final forms may look like. And unfortunately, Circus Seal isn't Ninja Frog or Samurai Sea Lion, whatever. I don't know what Samurai was exactly.
Samurai was supposed to be a weird. Actually, I don't know. It seems to be a weird fusion of like
a sea otter, a sea lion, and a samurai.
Yeah, like it was a very weird fusion.
And
it worked out. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, because we had a emperor penguin. Yeah, I'll start from the beginning. We'll start from the beginning.
I'm just saying I don't want to talk about that piece of shit though.
Yeah, we had a cannon turtle, which is cool. Then we had a freaking alligator. Okay, also cool. Then we had a mudfish. Interesting animal, but it looked cool.
Hey son, Mega Swampert got them gains though.
Exactly,
man.
And then Mega Swampert saved Swampert from being just Swampert.
Well, I mean Swampert is cool. He's still probably one of my favorite water starters. But go ahead.
Yeah, and then with Gen 4 we had the thing you don't want to mention. And then,
I swear to God, Dawn fucked me up, and I hate that typing.
Yeah, and then Gen 5 we had Samurai Sea Lion, and then Gen 6 we had Ninja Frog. So hopping off of that, we got Circus Seal, and it's just like, I don't know exactly how to handle this yet.
Well, because that thing's I bet you it's gonna be kind of like with Snivy's evolution, where it just kind of evolves gracefully, but doesn't really change much in its design.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to pick the one that's gonna have a distinct gender, fucking Poplio better be like a female, because ain't no way in hell that's gonna work as a cool, badass thing in the future. Like, and I've seen a lot of fan art for like what his final evolution can be, and most of them look like elegant sea lions,
Mm-hmm.
aka female sea lions. That's what they've done because
Like,
you
yeah.
can't make the thing look badass. It's hard.
Yeah, like the ruffle on its neck will turn into something that
Like a
is more
cloth.
relevant. Yeah, like more relevant.
Yeah, like, and to me, it's like I never hated the thing as much as some people fucking hate him. It's
Well,
all
the internet has a bad habit of overreacting too. So
well, I mean that's true. I'm just saying. I feel like he didn't deserve all that trash memes and shit, but they still did it to him.
there's a petition that defends him. So
Well, yeah, Poplio is. I don't think people. It was like because I didn't have that nasty reaction at him. I actually thought he had a lot of character just based off his animations. He's sitting there posing and shit in his idle animations in the game. And I'm like, has a pretty good amount of character. I like Poplio. Um, so I guess that covers our starters, and the only other
yeah,
Pokemon we can talk about is legendaries. So let's start off with Solgaleo.
Solgaleo, Daycat, fighter of the night bat.
Oh Lord, you
I saw. Yeah, it's a thing. Sorry.
I know you just sitting there, you've been working on your new rap career. That's what you're doing.
No, it's sunny in Philadelphia meme. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Um,
Weird typing.
Weird typing is probably the only lion Pokemon that isn't a fire type. Its ability is just a variation of what's it?
Clear body.
Yeah, it's just a variation of Clear Body. I'm not necessarily in love with its design personally because it just looks like another god. It looks like a variation of Entei.
I can buy that. Yeah.
But I don't know. But how do you feel about it?
We just came from a lion, so
Exactly. We're
but
keeping consistently.
both of these legendaries are kind of weird to me because like we just came from a lion and we have like a bunch of bats, so I don't know how to handle this. We had Noibat and Noivern. Like Noivern and Pyroar are like the prototype versions of Solgaleo and Lunala to me.
Yeah, but I will say this right now, hashtag Team Moon, because Lunata looks way cooler than fucking Solgaleo.
I do like the fact that he keeps his wings half crest, and then when he does the Moon Guy's beam, it's full crest.
Well, I
Or
also like the fact that his wings look like a dream catcher.
yeah, that's cool too. But back to Solgaleo. Weird typing, first of all. Second of all, it feels weird to me that the Pokemon is representing Sun is weak against fire types.
Yeah, that is weird. That doesn't make any fucking sense, actually.
Yeah, I hope this thing has a Form 2 or something, because on its own, it doesn't feel different. Why give it a clear body imitation ability?
Why make it still psychic?
Why make it the fact that it's weak against fire, but it's supposed to represent sun?
I think a lot of people think that it was supposed to be like it's supposed to. I think they're trying to represent all the types through the legendaries now. And if we had to be fair, there aren't that many steel legendaries.
Well, then make him fire steel. Don't make him fucking psychic. We have enough psychic legendaries. We had a bunch of them in Gen 2
Actually,
and Gen 1.
a lot of people, and I just remembered something. He's essentially Jirachi for Gen 7.
Oh, God.
Well, he is. It's the same
He is,
typing.
yeah, same typing. I don't think they've had a fire steel type. Well, Heatran, my bad. I forgot about Heatran.
We have a fire steel type. It's just
Ugh.
I'm not digging him. That's why I say I'm Team Lunala.
Well, because I'll say this. When we first got announced Solgaleo and Lunala, we didn't get their types. So I was really interested in Solgaleo before we knew his act. Well, we got his name leaked really early.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just didn't know if it was confirmed or not. But when we got Solgaleo, I didn't know what type he was yet. So he grew on me because I was like, yeah, lions have come a long way. We went from having no lions for 6 gens, and then we finally got a lion, but it was a disappointment. Then we got this. So this might have potential. Then the more I learned about it, the more I start going, why?
Which is funny because people seem to like Solgaleo way more than Lunala.
What's their chance to get a correct lion?
I still don't fucking
So now I'm just sort of stuck because Sugaleo was probably the main reason I wanted to get Pokemon Sun. Now I know all this stuff about him, and it's like I don't really want him as much as I wanted to. It's kind of like really wanting a cake, and then when you find out the cake sucks, it's like, oh, well that sucks. So now I'm looking at Lunala, but I guess we'll know more when time comes, or hopefully they get Form 2s or something. But that's my Sugaleo rant, I guess.
Yeah, and I personally just have no interest in it because I'm so tired of the traditional line looking thing. And it's funny because we don't have that many, and I'm already tired of it. I just don't like that fucking look. It's because it's samey. You can't. You literally have the same body type, and you just have to do variations on how its fur looks and how its face looks. But it's essentially the same body type, and because it's a legendary, thing's gonna be fucking huge. Which is one of the reasons why I thought Lunala was cool because every bat we've gotten is a very interesting. They're all different. Crobat is different from Swoobat.
Mm-hmm.
Swoobat is different from
From Noibat.
Noibat, and Noibat is different from Lunala because Lunala is probably a very unique in terms of its typing isn't necessarily original because I think we've had a psychic ghost before.
Yeah, I think Spiritomb.
Yeah, and
Spiritomb.
that thing
Yes.
was a pain in the ass.
Well, until fairy types came.
Well, yeah, but yeah, like I like its type and I like its ability. The whole thing where as long if it's at full HP, then the attack that hits it isn't going to do as much damage. Pretty much saying you can never one hit KO this thing.
Yeah.
And it happens every time your Pokemon's at full HP. So as long as you're refilling at HP, that means technically it can consistently not take the major brunt of an attack the entire damn match. And it's a cool thing. So like it'd be the Pokemon you want to constantly put leftovers on. I like its design. I was Team Moon as soon as I saw it, and that was before I even knew any of the extra stuff. I like its design. I like the design. I like the fact that
It
it's
is a good
back,
design, yeah.
and it looks cool, and the typing makes sense. Although it being part ghost makes me think that it's dead.
That's like the second time you've
I don't
used
know.
that.
Ghost types for some
Well,
reason
ghost types do equal dead, so
yeah, ghost types I kind of default to dead, so it's kind of weird that my legendary is dead.
uh
Is he the first ghost legendary?
no, I mean Giratina is dead.
Well, fuck Giratina.
Giratina's dead.
Listen, I'm having flashbacks to that Shaman movie, and
Ah, okay. Well,
I don't like that kind of.
I want pancakes. Shut your bitch ass up.
So, needless to say, I think we've covered all the new Pokemon.
Yeah,
So
it's just Sugaleo, I guess, is the odd man out here because he the more we learned about him, the more basic he became.
yeah, pretty much. So I guess from this point we can move on to I guess let's go with the region. Let's just talk about the concept
Ooh.
that they're using Hawaii as a base and what we think about it so far. So how you feel about Aloha? Aloha.
Alola.
Hey,
I first of all, I hate the name.
come on, man! It's a variation of Aloha.
They didn't even try. That would be like calling the Kanto region Weebo. The Alola region. Oh, I wonder what this could be based off of. I mean, yeah, it's based off Hawaii, but we're not stupid.
Well,
We
they
could,
didn't know that.
yeah, and then okay, when Johto region and Hoenn region came out, you could the only way you could figure out where they were based off of is with actual research. Like legit research. Okay, this is traditional Japan. Okay, this was based off islands in Japan. Makes sense. And then the Sinnoh region, you can do some research on that too, I guess. And then once the Unova region came, it was pretty obvious. Okay, this is based on America. And then the Kalos region, they had this big ass Eiffel Tower, which is France. And they just flat out call this Aloha. I'm like,
Okay, so besides the name,
but other than the name, yeah, I was gonna say other than the name, I'm curious as to why they only showed us one island at first, and then later they just went, oh, yeah, by the way, there's 3 other islands.
I thought it was kind of implied considering Hawaii is not, considering you have 8 gyms to deal with. I knew that wasn't going to be the only island. I just thought
So, okay, well, does that mean there's 2 gyms on each island?
possibly.
Yeah, because 4 times 2 is 8.
I've been looking at a lot of the game explain analysis, and a lot of people think that like that the first island will probably host. There's gonna be like, yeah, pretty much. It probably won't be as balanced as that. Like I think one island will probably have like 3, maybe one island will have like 1. The reason why I say that because of some of the geography that's different on each island, which ironically enough, considering it's still it's separated by islands, they seem to still be covering all the staples of a Pokemon game. Like there's a desert area, there's even an ice area on top of one of the mountains. So it's not like we're gonna lose variation in the landscapes.
What kind of fucked up climate are we rocking? Because Hawaii is like usually primarily humid, but I guess they had to do that to show off ice Pokemon and stuff.
Yeah, but I'd say we can't. That was just say we wouldn't have any new ice types, man.
Yeah. That's
So
fair. That's fair. I can rock that.
so I like the idea. I feel like it's gonna be the best of Hoenn without over exaggerating. Because I like Hoenn, but I recognize that Hoenn's water issue is kind of an issue. It's not like as big of an issue as some people like to make it out to be. Fucking IGN.
Right.
But I understand people's apprehension towards it. So I feel this will be a better way of using the water in a way that doesn't feel like filler. Because I think for a lot of people, the surfing and the diving and the waterfall stuff just felt like filler to them. I think Aloha will have a condensed version of that, which is fine by me.
The islands are close enough to the point where it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a hassle.
Yeah, and remember, you're not going to be doing that at the beginning of the game anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna take a boat. So
it's not that big of a deal for a while anyway. Probably until at least the third or fourth gym.
yeah.
So I like the region and I like the concept. From what I've been seeing, it actually has a lot of tie-ins with Hawaii. Like they're being pretty faithful to actually Hawaii, which is always cool. It's the same thing people liked about Unova, and it's true representation of New York for the most part.
Which, yeah, I would say is funny because technically Hawaii is still a United States state. So, and we've got 2 U.S. states now.
Well, they needed to do that anyway.
Yeah, we have New York and Hawaii, which are you representing America in Pokemon now.
Well, yeah, because I think they're just running out of stuff to do for Japan. So I like the fact that they're using other countries to represent newer Pokemon games. So as far as the region's concerned, I like it. Now, considering each generation, at least the later ones, have kind of had an overemphasis on certain types to push them more, is there any type that you think that's going to get more of a focus in this generation, or no?
2 things I think are going to happen. One of them I hope doesn't happen, though. Well, one of them I hope doesn't happen to the extreme. Fairy typing is relatively still new. It was the new introduced type. So what they gotta add more fairy to it. Unfortunately, I think that may happen. They're gonna be like, oh, we need to make a couple of more Pokemon fairy type just to balance out fairies. 2, and this was the thing that I'm okay with it happening. They're probably going to get a variation of probably more grass and water types to represent the climate, hopefully.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I just hope they don't try to mash in fairy types because fairy is new and they gotta add more. Because currently we only have like what? If you're not counting Pokemon that were changed to fairy, we only have like Spritzy line. We have the Spritzy line and the Slurpuff line, and I think.
Well, are you talking pure fairy or part fairy? Because you also have Klefki.
Pure and Klefki. Yeah, I'm talking mostly just Gen 6 fairies. Which if Gen 6 has a low roster, new type, then that means the fairy typing is low. The only added fairies were fairies from other generations, like Clefairy is now fairy, Jigglypuff's fairy, Meryl for some reason's fairy, and then all of the Ralts line is fairy.
Well, would you prefer them to keep changing more Pokemon to fairies, or actually adding new fairies?
I wouldn't mind if they changed some Pokemon to fairy. Like obviously, the Happiny all the way up to Blissey line. I wouldn't mind them being fairy. I think Snubbull got changed. Yeah, Snubbull did get
Yeah,
changed.
Snubble
Snubbull
got
and
changed.
Granbull got changed. Cause that actually threw me off in the Battle Mage John. One day, I was like, "Oh fuck, he's not a normal type anymore."
You're
But
sitting there trying to hit him with fighting techniques and nothing's happening.
yeah, yeah.
Do you think there's any typing that needs a boost in terms of its effectiveness against other types?
As of right now, I don't see any types that get the short end of the stick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone in the comments is probably yelling at me. Probably yelling at me saying that Dark type's gonna get mashed because now Dark type is weak against Fairy too. So, oh.
But that also balanced out to give Steel and Poison a better representation, because Steel didn't have that many advantages.
And I don't even think Poison for real had any advantages except for its advantage on grass. So anything Poison can get, take it and run with it.
Yeah. And with all the introduction of bug types in Gen 5, it wasn't like.
And
Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say the only reason I say more fairies too is probably to handle Lunala.
Yeah, because Lunala's going to be a fucking bitch.
It's only weak to fairy. Like that's the only thing that can hurt him.
No, it's also with the Dark.
No, it's Ghost and it's Ghost and
Psychic.
what was it? It's Ghost and Psychic. Sorry, I'm thinking of Spiritomb's Ghost and Dark. Excuse me, I'm messed
So there
up.
is no Psychic and Ghost then.
I think there is.
What? Oh, let me think. It would
I'm
have
sure
to.
someone in the comments is yelling at us.
Yeah, because it would have to be something in Gen 4 and on. I can't think of anything. It wouldn't be anything from Gen 3 and back. Oh my god. No, I don't. I think he might be the first Psychic Ghost type. There might be. If there is something, it's like.
Hoopa,
Oh, right. Is that?
Hoopa, Psychic and Ghost.
That's such a. Well, it's. Fuck. Never mind. I don't even know what to say to that.
Hoopa, Psychic and Ghost.
It's such a new Pokemon, and no one's really played with it because of, video game logic. Which I'm hoping we can get those legendaries in fucking in Gen 7, considering we didn't really get them in Gen 6.
We didn't. I think the problem was Gen 7 had to come out, and I don't know, they were really weird on giving us Pokemon, because by the time we get Volcanion, no one's going to be playing the game anymore.
Well, honestly, Volcanion actually makes more sense in Gen 7 anyway, considering the whole Hawaii thing.
Hawaii, fire, water, yeah.
So it makes more sense than the fact we got like mini volcanoes and stuff. So I guess getting off of the typing, let's talk about some characters.
Yay.
Let's start with our trainers of our opposite genders. Thoughts on the male and female look?
The female has a stupid hat.
What? I like the hat. I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand the hate for the hat.
Well, to me, it looks like a tiny octopus is just on their head.
That is the first time I've heard anyone use that reference. Everyone's been calling it a chicken hat from what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with tiny octopus because there's a little octopus in I think it was a movie I saw that looks just like that hat.
So everyone in the comments, octopus hat for Gen 7 apparently.
I think I'm gonna grow on it. It's gonna grow on me later. I'm not using the female character, so I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, but I don't know. That hat's been rubbing me the wrong way. It's like, how come the boy trainer gets a reasonable looking hat, and then I gotta deal with this weird beanie thing if I'm using a female, which I'm not, but still, it bothers me, I guess. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I actually prefer the girls' design over the guys.
People say they like the shorts.
The shorts, well, it's whatever.
Okay.
That's my thought. That's my thought on the shorts. It's like, it's there. I don't mind it. I'm just not like.
You're not in love with it.
Yeah, I mean, because he has the same problem Gen 6's trainer had. He looked samey as hell. Like,
yeah, Yeah, he does have that vague blue, white striped design that looks similar to Gen 6 and 5.
Although I will say he looks better. Well, Gen 5 wasn't as bad. I actually like Gen 5's designs for the male trainers. I think he kind of looks like a variation of a black one and black and white one's male trainer. Um, you also notice and somebody brought this up. I don't think this is actually going to lead into anything, but people thought it was interesting. If you look at their shoes, which I don't know if you have a picture, but if you look at their shoes in the official art, the guys' shoes look like Team Aqua's color palette, whereas the girls' shoes look like a variation of Team Matma's color palette.
I do see that. I'm looking at it now. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what the reasoning for it is. So people thought that was interesting. Also, if you look at the region map, people were saying that some of the cloud formations look like Ho and Lugia, which I don't know if that's.
People have been trying to jam Ho and Lugia into Sun and Moon so badly, so I'm gonna be less skeptical on. I'm gonna be more skeptical on that one.
No, I don't see it as well as some other people do. I do see hints of it though, and I don't know what that's supposed to mean anyway. Because unless they're just trying to tie in, like, well, what is what? Because people are curious if Alola is near any particular region or not. And if anything, I think Alola will probably have more ties to Gen 3 and Gen
Yeah,
3
Hoenn.
with all that stuff at the end of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Plus tropical, yeah.
Yeah, like so it would make more sense. Um, Overall, though, just going back to the character designs, I like the girl. I probably like the girl design the best. The guy, now, the more I look at the guy's design, I'm kind of growing more to like it. Versus XY versus like what's his name, Caleb technically.
Yeah.
Caleb's design not so much.
Well, Caleb was meant to be bland so that you could change him later.
Well, according to some of the stuff I've been seeing, there's a heavy hint that you'll be able to do the same thing for this game. Because I think the first trailer that came out showing off the starters, if you look at the Japanese and even the American trailer, you see that the boy's shirt color changes from blue to black in certain scenes.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that the customization is coming back. Also, I guess we should talk about this since we're both men of color. They added another race option.
We can be darker black people now.
Which is funny because I actually am darker black, so I guess I should be happy about that.
I'm going to be picking the exact same one I did last time because I am light-skinned.
What was that, Team Redbone? Is that what's going to happen right now?
I don't know. I just want the character to look like me. It's just when it comes to the character designs, they also say that the characters look a little older, that they're 13 now instead of just 10.
No.
I don't know if I'm getting that feeling. I'm thinking the only reason people are saying that is because we're not using chibis anymore as sprites. Now we have the actual full sprite from when, like, the main time I remember the full sprite is when Evital or Xerneas is about to wake up in the game, and the character can be seen in their full model.
Yeah, pretty much.
We get that all the time now.
Well, no, because here's my thing, because Black and White had the same thing, where the Black and White trainers were technically, like, in their teens, if I remember correctly.
That's correct, yeah.
So it's not like that really changes anything in terms of the story. The characters are older.
Yeah.
The characters don't look older to me personally. They actually look about 10 years old. Yeah, but that was another thing I noticed in the first trailer. We got our full models now, and they got a lot more crazy with how the area looks now. Like, it almost looks like real life in terms of general structures and stuff. Versus before, when you could walk, like if you walked in like Kalos, you were the same size as a truck. Like your character model was the same size as a damn truck or a car, and you're like, I don't think that's supposed to be the way it is. Whereas, in the cutscene in this game, you see them running around, they run past a truck, and the truck actually looks like a truck size.
Yeah, that's because for the first time ever, our Pokemon trainers don't have bulbous heads.
Well,
Our heads are proportionate to our bodies now. And back then, every other game, our characters had huge heads, but that was only because we needed to see them in an overview.
Yeah, it's also chibi art style. That's also the other main reason.
Yeah.
That's just an art style thing they've been doing. But overall, I like the designs. But I guess we should move on to our rival, Howl.
Oh, kill me.
Wow, come on, man, what's wrong with Howl?
I'm getting sick of nice rivals.
You know, a lot of people have said, and I kind of agree with. He's pretty much a gender swap version of Shauna.
Yep.
And I'm like, because the problem with Shauna was that she felt like a variation on Bianca, and I was like, guys, we don't need another one of those. I mean, I'm not saying
I don't think we have enough to base him off of yet to say he's like Shauna, other than they're the same skin color. Woo.
Well, no, it's because the whole thing about him being a fun-loving boy and he's like real nice and shit.
Ugh.
So, and to me, that's essentially Shauna. That's all Shauna.
Remember when Silver used to push you?
I remember it. I don't feel the push anymore because it's been like over a decade.
Remember when Hugh punched a plasma member in the face?
That was just funny as hell to me. I wish I still, I know people do this. I want like an animated version of that scene. I want someone to go out of the way and animate that shit in like high quality animation of you running up. If you in the middle of a conversation and you coming up behind you like a damn bullet train and smacking the shit out of a T-plasma.
Yeah, it's just I'm tired of rivals that are just way too nice. You want to know, like, they would always give you something, and the thing about Gen 1 and Gen 2, you want to know what they gave you? Nothing. They just talk smack and battled you.
Well, no, but I said they gave you something. They gave you shit.
Yeah, I was like, these rivals are too nice. I want to beat you, not hang out with you.
I don't mind it, but it better be a different character arc.
True.
If the character arc is different, it won't bother me as much. But which unfortunately you can't do much with that kind of character. Like there is no real direction to take him in, which is probably why people are very more interested in, and you're probably part of this group too, of the other new character we have, which is known as Lillie.
Actually, I didn't know she was important as she was let off to be until everybody kept blowing her up on Twitter. So.
Yeah, well, here's the thing though. A lot of this is because of another reason. How in the gameplay clips is shown to have a tendency of picking the Pokemon that's weak to your starter, which then brings up the question: well, who's picking the Pokemon who's strong against your starter? They introduced Lillie, but here's the thing about Lillie: Lillie doesn't like Pokemon battles. So is she a character who's forced to have a Pokemon but never uses it?
A lot of people also say that Lillie is Pokemon's response to not having a Z game because of her clothes and the fact that she's pale while everybody else is a darker skin tone because they're in Hawaii. Means that she's probably coming from Kalos.
Well, that could be true, but the other thing is that on the site they say she's there for a personal reason.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the reason is. She also seems to be carrying like a Pokemon's trainer's bag, but she's only helping out the professor with his research. So it's like if you're a rival, you're probably a rival who doesn't believe they're a rival yet. The problem I have is I feel like it's going to be a similar character arc to what Serena has in X and Y, where she grows into being a rival.
Yeah.
And I'm curious.
This isn't even the first time where they made a professor's assistant a rival. I mean, in Diamond and Pearl they did it too. It just wasn't really well executed.
Diamond and Pearl didn't do a lot of things right. So I'm sorry for people who like Diamond and Pearl. I can't do it.
Yeah, all 5 of you. He's sorry.
Hey man, there are people who say that's their favorite region. I'm just saying.
The only reason they like it is because it's a physical special split, which I'm sure they would have done in Gen 5 anyway.
Yeah, but Gen 5 is such a masterpiece. It's kind of like, yeah, it's not important. That would have happened in Generation 5 anyway.
So you're saying that Lillie, are you as pumped about Lillie as everybody else is? Because honestly, I think she's all right. I'm not going to lose my shit over her.
Oh, no, I'm not losing my shit. I'm interested. I'll say that. She's more interesting than How. I'll say
Oh,
that.
that's for certain. She kind of, in a weird sense, reminds me of N.
A lot of people have been saying that. She gives off a similar vibe.
Because they don't like Pokemon battles, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just that even that demeanor, where they're both kind of calm and kind of emotionless in some aspects.
Yeah. The only thing that doesn't get to me, though, is her not liking Pokemon battles, it being similar to N. It's like, we've already done the N thing before, so you gotta really dig me in deep with Lillie.
You know, you know where else we did that in?
What?
The Destiny Deoxys movie.
Ah, fuck. Yeah. Fuck.
All right, man. At least
We did do that.
man. At least you don't got. I got to review that for the 20th anniversary. I'm reviewing every film, so.
Oh, God.
And I've already watched the Darker Eye film, and I've watched Lucario and Mystery Mew. I'm not looking forward to the later half of the films, but that's a different story. Lillie, though, I'm interested in. I just want to see more of her. I guess that's my whole thing.
Yeah.
I need to see how she interacts and plot. And if she's not the rival trainer, where's that third Pokemon going to? Because somebody's getting it.
True. Yeah.
Because they've done that consistently for the last few games. Everybody got a Pokemon. Like everybody, like Gen 5 and Gen 6 did that. I
Yeah,
don't.
Gen 6, not only did everybody get a Pokemon, we had so many friends. I'm not calling them rivals. We had so many friends, they wound up with, like, their different starters.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see if Lillie doesn't get it, who will get it? And if Lillie does get it, does that mean she's going to be forced to battle? And is it going to be like a weird thing where y'all are fighting and she's like really good, but it's kind of awkward because she's like hating it the entire time?
Yeah.
And that's actually get to the part now that references the anime that a lot of people are curious about. Um, and this kind of goes into the Rotom Pokédex thing. But there's this sneaking suspicion that the synchronization thing they've been doing with Ash and Greninja is going to come up in the games because of certain lines that were spoken by the talking Rotom decks uh, in the trailer. Now, or even on the website, actually. So my first question, I guess the first thing we should talk about is how do you feel about the Rotom decks being a Rotom decks?
I I'm getting used to it, but when I first saw it, I was mad. I was upset because it's like, God, this is annoying. Because I don't really. It's not that I don't like Rotom, because I dig his whole gimmick, but I don't want to be in my Pokedex now. Because now it's a little meta. Because what if I catch a Rotom and put him on my team? Now I have two Rotoms on my team, technically. Well, he's not on your team, he's a Pokedex. But I don't know. I'm not comfortable with my Pokedex having a sentient being.
Well, I'm more worried about it because of the anime. Because I know when the anime comes up, that's going to be such a pain in the ass to deal with. A talking Rotom Dex that has a problem with not shutting up.
Yeah, I would say, and I hope that they didn't have this already planned, which is why they gave Professor Oak that Rotom to begin with.
I don't think it's planned. I think that was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Which I guess the other thing we should talk about before we get into that whole theory is we have a young professor.
Again?
Well, he's technically only the third young one. Unless we count Birch.
In a row, yeah.
Well, no, because Oak was old. Elm is the first young one. Birch, I guess, where would we put Birch? Is that middle age or young?
Birch?
Project-
Birch was around his 30s, 40s, his late 30s, early 40s.
So old-ish.
So old-ish, like mature. And then
Okay.
we've got, and then Rowan, he was old. I'm sorry, Rowan's old.
And then Juniper was young.
Juniper was young, and then Sycamore was young, and then this
Is
guy.
Sycamore young? I thought Sycamore was old with all the wrinkles in his face.
He doesn't have really wrinkles. I think he has stubbles. He has a 5 o'clock shadow.
So he's kind of like a pseudo youngish.
Yeah, he's like, I would say he's in his late 20s.
Okay. And
Yeah.
Kufri seems to be around Juniper's age.
Yeah, and then a lot of people were making jokes were like, "Oh, Juniper, then Sycamore. When do we start getting all these hot professors?" And the reason they said that was
Who the hell ever said Sycamore was high?
most females think them.
What?
Cause France and his
Oh,
curly hair and
oh my god.
the
What?
5 o'clock shadow, and then Juniper obviously males like Juniper.
Wait,
So
man, Juniper was bae. We don't talk about that.
exactly. So then someone comments, "You don't think Professor Oak is hot?"
Well, and all the girls in the back be like, no, and then you got that one girl in the back, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just he's your cousin, right?
No, that's the Hawaiian phrasing.
No, I'm saying is the Hawaiian the Alola professor. He is your cousin in this game.
No, he's not. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, he's not.
No, when he calls you cousin in the text, which is what I was basing.
Oh, it's a greeting.
It
Sorry.
is a Hawaiian greeting that he's using.
Oh, okay.
Also, he seems
Like
to be.
hi, brother. Okay.
He also seems to be that professor who loves being hit by Pokemon attacks.
Oh God, like Oak.
Was Oak? I thought it was another. I thought. Oh yeah, it might be Oak too.
They turned Professor Oak to that at last minute in Best Wishes, where Noivern bit Professor Oak's head, and he's like,
Oh,
"It's always."
I know who else. I was thinking of Gardenia when I heard that. That's what it was.
No, Gardenia like getting hit by grass type Pokemon.
Hey man, it's not that much of a difference in a joke, except that she's just type biased.
Yeah.
She's a typist.
Yeah. A typist. It's just yeah. So okay, so it's just like when Waka calls you brother in Final Fantasy X. It's
Yeah.
not really your brother. It's a greeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a greeting.
Well, that was misleading.
Well, no, it wasn't. We just didn't think about it too much. But nah, like I like his design. And he seems way more of a variation than like Sycamore did.
That's true.
Like he seems more distinct.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of curious why Lillie would be working with a professor who likes to be hit with Pokemon attacks, considering she doesn't like seeing Pokemon fight.
Plot convenience? I don't know.
Well, she did say it's for personal reasons. So, although apparently, according to some of the Japanese translations, she wants to give somebody something, but we don't know what it is.
Oh God.
So it's kind of up in the air. But yeah, getting back to the theory, the other reason why this theory exists about the whole Ash Greninja synchronization thing being a part of the game as maybe a variation of Mega Evolution or something different is also because it's been kind of shown that the anime rarely kind of shows off a new mechanic for the story that doesn't show up in some form in the games. And they're also wearing a bracelet that's kind of similar to what Ash wears for Greninja's whole thing.
Um. Hmm. And okay, so the synchro evolution thing is that's what the fans have called it, synchro evolution,
Yeah.
which is an appropriate name. My problem with this is Greninja's form makes him look like Ash. Making synchro evolution would imply that you would have to take one model of a Pokemon, probably at its final evolution. Then you'd have to make that model like I don't know how many times do you have to make it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have to make that model 8 more times. 1 for the blonde-haired male, 2 for the blonde-haired male that's white, 3 for the dark-skinned male with the brown hair, 4 for the darker-skinned brown hair, black-haired male, and then so on and so forth for the female. Then you got to do all the starters with it. It's just a lot of work.
Well, I don't think it. Well, it's as I said, it's just a concept, maybe not the same
Yeah.
way.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying, like, if they do it, they got to be careful because that's a lot of work.
Well, my question is, if that was a thing, what kind of advantage would it gain for the trainer in that Pokemon in particular? Like just increased stats, or
I would say it can make it so your starter Pokemon doesn't suck. Because starter Pokemon are cool and all, but they're usually not the best at battling.
well,
I mean, like, they're not the main end all be all, with the exception of Superior's contrary ability.
well, some people say that maybe it's going to be used as kind of an extension of Pokemonomy, like you can only do it when you get to a certain friendship level, and then like so it wouldn't be used for like early game. It'd be used for like late game and maybe meta game kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it would make a Mii more relevant because you can't use a Mii in the Wi-Fi game at all because it give you an unfair advantage. So the only logical route at that point would be to make a Mii allow you to synchro evolve. That way you can still synchro evolve without having a super advantage against your opponent.
Right. So I think it'd be a cool concept, and I'm curious to see where they're going to take it. And I guess the other thing I'll bring up real quick because it's not that big of a deal is the whole QR code thing where you can
Oh yeah,
you can, which I feel like is just a cheap way to fill your Pokédex now without actually having to use somebody else's buying two 3DSs and trading to yourself.
I think it's interesting. I got nothing really much to say about it. I don't use QR codes a lot, so
I'm,
I I'm speechless.
Actually, I'm serious too because I think I've only used it like once.
I've used QR. Wait,
I used it on
I think
Tomodachi Life. That's the only time I've ever used it.
yeah, I think it was like I think the only time I used it was on Pokemon TCGO. So, and even then, I didn't use them a lot because I would my laptop wouldn't sense them all the time, so I just had to type in the actual code.
Ah, good old scanner. Uh,
So yeah,
so,
I don't use QR codes enough to care. So I do like the fact that the Pokedex does give our Pokemon give the Pokemon their 2D pictures. I like that.
and
That's cool.
apparently the Pokédex is also split up by the island. So
Yeah.
so like each Pokédex section is for each island and specifically which. And I mean, granted, you can look at it all at once too, but they actually give the other three options for the other, well, four options I've had for the other four islands. And it's already been kind of shown that the Elite Four is a island in the middle. It's not really an island; it's like a floating building in the middle of the water, which is a cool visual thing. Um, what else are we missing? I think that might be it.
Uh. Do I
Yeah.
think yeah, I would think that's it too. I mean, like, there's that weird looking health bar.
Oh, you mean the change? Oh, I guess the other thing we could talk about is maybe some of the graphical changes. It's like we said, how the models are bigger now. They
I like
removed.
that the trainers get to be in battle with the Pokemon.
Oh, thank God! And then they moved the damn circles off the ground. We have no
Sure.
more. We have no.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about
We
now.
have no more battle platforms. It's just like they're in the grass or some stuff.
That's yeah, I like that.
And it's like I had already mentioned how the landscape seems more buried now because of the change in size of the characters. So it seems like you have a bigger range and looks and stuff. There's more NPCs in the background in certain battles.
Yeah, trucks and cars are moving around too. Like in Lumios, I was surprised by the lack of cars.
Well, here's my question: do you think they're gonna fix the problem that was in Lumio City and even in Gen 5 where you couldn't go into a big area without having these breaks in between, where you had to load the other side of the map for you to start over again?
That's a RPG problem. That's not really a Pokemon game problem
I know.
because
I'm just saying.
yeah, it's just one of those. You can't continue here until you've beaten this part of the game.
Well, that and it was also the fact that I literally think it just didn't have the graphical power to load it all.
Yeah, that's true too.
But now that I think about it, but in terms of graphical changes, that's the only. And the fact that it seems like they're also doing that whole fake lip moving thing during cutscenes, where even though we got the text, you'll actually see their mouth moving, even though it's only like 2 frames of animation of their mouth movings when text is on the screen for that character, which just looks like a nice subtle thing that happens.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Other than that, I think we're good. I can't think of anything else.
yeah.
So.
I think we've covered basically all of the major stuff in Sun and Moon, and I usually on my channel I usually don't do a lot of like the what could this possibly mean because every time I do it they make a new one making me look like a damn fool.
Hey man, that just means you gotta get better at analyzing stuff, man. Come on, man, step your game up.
Yeah, it's just I from even back when we got the whole what was it? The we're making a new game, look at our drawings.
Oh, the original announcement for the games without actually showing us any new footage.
Yeah. And I always thought and I thought this was interesting too, if the what's his name? The professor's name? Kui
Kukui.
Kukui? If he's our professor, then who's this old man with this samurai sword who throws Pokeballs to show?
People are saying that's Howl's father or grandfather
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
they do look kind of similar.
Okay. I can buy that. I can buy that. Yeah, I just don't want. I don't know how to put this. I just want this region to make me care. Have moments in it that don't feel like they're just rip-offs of other regions, which I think Gen 7 has a nice head start.
You want it to be able to
We've
stand on
already
its own
got
two feet.
we've already got 3D on now. They can just focus.
Right.
So yeah,
So pretty much you just want it to be able to stand on its own 2 feet.
pretty much, yeah, that's the basis I want. I want it to be able to have its own identity. And from the looks of it, it actually is. It's seeming to have its own identity. It's not trying too hard to be the other games. But then again, the problem with X and Y we had was we didn't get so in depth when X and Y was leaked until we finally start playing X and Y. And then once we finally start playing X and Y, it was like, oh, this is Gen 1. Whereas in this game, it's like, I can feel like it's trying to be something else.
Yeah. And I'm also just looking forward to seeing the gym leaders. Because ironically enough, we haven't even seen the first one yet.
We haven't seen any of them, but they did show like silhouettes of them.
Wait, did they?
It's in the trailer, the one trailer where the kid moves in.
Oh, you're talking about the Japanese trailer.
Yeah, the Japanese trainer, the kid moves into it in school. You can see on the top, you can see the gym leaders blacked out in silhouettes.
Yeah, but it doesn't give us enough.
And it's so far away, you have to like squint and be like, oh, those are the gym leaders.
Because the gym leaders will tell us a lot about the typing choices they'll make.
Right. Hell, I'm actually hoping that it's not just specifically typings. I'm hoping some gym leaders are like, well, this gym leader uses defensive Pokemon or something. I don't know.
I hope it's dual typings if I could be
Oh,
lucky.
yeah. Or this gym leader only uses Pokemon that are green. I don't fucking know.
Just some variation
Yeah.
and maybe some more interesting. Because Gen 6's gym leaders were so disappointing. Especially when Gen 5 were the ones that interacted with you all the time. But Gen 6 and shit. The only gym leader who did that was
Karina.
Karina and like Wolfric. Because Wolfric we found in the forest.
In the village, yeah, in the Pokemon village.
Yeah, so he wasn't just, but that was the only two. The other ones were just kind of there, and I was like, that's not as fun. I'm also curious to see if they're going to do, well, I guess that's going into hopes and dreams at this point, but
Yeah.
more like gym gimmicks. Because I like the gym gimmicks as long as they're not like frustrating.
As long as it's not pick a random trash can that's got a switch in it. And if you get it wrong, all of it resets.
Look, we haven't gotten that bad in a while, and I don't think we're planning to go back there.
That's true.
So I think we're good on that front.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think we cover everything.
Yeah.
Um, I,
Yeah.
so final thoughts would just be simply for me. I hope it's right now. I'm pretty neutral about the game. I'm leaning towards positive, and I know during E3 they're supposed to be having like a 90, like a good demo for it. So
Oh, sweet. It's E3 and Pokemon. Pokemon's usually really shy when it comes to E3 stuff. So, yeah.
well, you also got to remember a lot of the stuff for Pokemon games usually gets spoiled before we even hit E3. So the trailer we get in E3 is literally shit we already knew about.
True.
Like for Oris, we had already seen the Mega Evolutions for the starters, and that was the E3 trailer, and I was like, that's not exciting. We've already seen that in the Korokoro leaks.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, Korokoro's been pretty silent about that stuff. I'm actually surprised.
Because they know that people leak them now.
Yeah. So overall, I'm relatively positive on the game. It looks cool, and I can't. I'm at this point. You got me wanting to see more, and to me, that's just enough. That's all you need to do right now. Get me in a mood where I want to see more, and I definitely want to see more.
Final thoughts for me. I want this game to be fresh. I really don't want to wind up seeing a shiny piece of paper, and when I unwrap it, the gift is something I don't want to re-gift GIF with a shiny new piece of paper, and that's what Gen 6 was to me. And it even worse so because it didn't even get a third expansion. So, and that it's re-giving something, but like you broke half of it. And that's what Gen 6 was to me. Gen 6 was like half of a gift that I already had wrapped in really shiny paper. Paper's shiny. That's great. Unfortunately, the inside is the same stuff I got minus. So I just Gen 6 or Gen 7 just have an identity of your own. Don't copy anything Gen 1 did. Don't make a Snorlax randomly sleep in the way. Don't have a forest that's oddly like Viridian's. Don't do
Don't
none of that.
pander. Don't pander to the old audience.
Yeah, don't do none of that. Don't make me pick Gen 2 starters as well as Gen 7. Just be your own game. Because that was one of the reasons I really loved Black and White when I first got it. It felt like I was playing Pokemon again for the first time.
Because it felt like it was something different.
Yeah, it really truly felt like a different Pokemon game. Granted, they took all the old Gen Pokemon out, but then they put them in when you get the national deck, so it wasn't like a permanent deal. It's just Gen 5 felt like its own game, and I want to feel that feeling again when I play Gen 7, because we got our 3D models now, although I think they've been updated.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, because
They got fingers, man.
yeah, and I meant more or less for the Pokemon's models.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, the Pokemon's models I think have gotten a bit updated because they couldn't keep using those. Even looking at Rowlet, Litleo, and Litleo. Whoops, I knew I was gonna do that.
Oh, my God.
Rowlet, Litten, and Poplio. Even looking at them in battle, I can see that they've updated the 3D models a bit.
Well, yeah, because they all have like unique idle animations now.
Yeah, they have idle animations and their shadows have been improved and they have more of a vibrant color going on. In Gen 6, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the Pokemon were kind of pale.
Well, that's because I feel like they just took a lot of the models from like the N64 for the older generations and kind of just did slight variations of those.
Yeah, like I know I use Raichu enough to notice. Raichu's is very cream color in Gen 6. And I think in Gen 7 he's going to be more orange-ish.
Like he's supposed to be.
Yeah, so yeah, I can see that. So you got our foundation, you got your models, you got everything you need. Go off and be original now. I do not want to catch this game being Gen 2.0 or some crap. I just be Gen 7. I'll be happy if it's Gen 7. Even if there's some if there's some problems, at least there'll be problems presented in a new light rather than just, oh, this is the same thing.
So pretty much we just want a fresh experience is what it boils
Yeah,
down to.
make it fresh. Make it fresh.
But I think that's it. So I'd like to thank you, Tyrone, for coming in on here and discussing this with me.
Yeah, I had fun doing it.
His channel link will be in the description below. I guess, yeah, because I guess this will be on both our channels. So I guess.
Yeah. So and vice versa. His channel, subscribe to the Insane Game Freak. Follow him on Twitter. You know, all that kind of stuff.
Tweet me. Tweet me all your Rowlet memes so I can be confused at everyone's time.
And then tweet the Poplio memes because they're sad.
Man, you know what's funny? That thing's gonna get an evolution. It's gonna be sick as hell. And people are gonna be like, "Oh, my bad, dog. I didn't mean to."
Back then they didn't want them. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's how Oshawott was.
Pretty much.
Oshawott.
It's gonna be a back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me type deal.
Why is it that Mike Jones is only relevant in the future, but he wasn't relevant when he came out?
Oh, and then I guess, well, this was a small little thing, and I guess we can graze over it. Gen 1 being able to transfer to Sun and Moon, I don't really know how I feel about that yet.
Why?
I don't fucking know.
You don't know why you're conflicted about it?
Because Gen 1 doesn't have genders, nor abilities, nor natures, nor personalities.
Oh, I see. Well, it has to go through Pokemon Bank anyway, so I mean, I guess you would find that out before you...
You transfer? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
Weird.
I'm actually curious how that's going to work.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, subscribe to Insane Game Freak and tweet him the Rowlet meme so he can laugh.
Hashtag Team Litton, hashtag Team Moon. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Life's a game, play to win, and yeah, Pokemon Gen 7.
Woo!
That sounds like some weak ass enthusiasm.
Well,
That's how you can tell we're recording it at late at night.
yeah, yeah, I can't like burst with noise right now.
Well, I honestly don't think I'm conscious enough to do that.
Yeah,
Later, guys.
yeah.